I'm Curtis Taylor from the American GED Center, and let's get started. Essays are scary. The idea of writing an essay scares so many people, and it scares them simply because they don't know what to write. They sit there and they pound their pen on the desk, or they start chewing on their pencil because they just don't know what to write. The other thing that happens sometimes is people just start writing. They write so fast and they don't know why they're writing. They don't know what they're writing. They just say, that's what I'm supposed to do. So you write really, really fast. And in the end, it doesn't make any sense. Don't worry. Have no fear. We're going to go over and we're going to figure out how to get ourselves organized. So today what we're going to talk about is the kind of essay that you will see in first year university. We have it in GED as well. And it's an argumentative essay, also known as an extended response. So in an extended response, what that means is we're responding to an argument that two people or two organizations, two politicians, two people had about a topic. And then what we do is we analyze the arguments, not the topic. We analyze the arguments on both sides, and then we gather information and we decide which side of the argument had a stronger argument. Who did a better job presenting things like evidence. So the basic structure of what we have is a 1-3-1. And what that means is your introductory section will have 1 paragraph, your body section will have 3 paragraphs, and your conclusion section will have also 1. So it becomes a 1-3-1. So let's go over what each one of these is, what's included in each. The introductory section is 1 paragraph, and it'll tell the reader what the essay is going to be about. We have in the body, we have main points, also known as arguments. So have you ever heard someone arguing and they keep talking really fast and someone stops them and says, what is your point? That's what the main points are. Details that support the main point are not in the introduction. We simply introduce each of the main points. So we will, for each main point, have 1 sentence. The introductory sentences in the paragraphs, every paragraph needs one, and they need a closing sentence. But we're going to talk about the meat of it. Okay, so in your introductory sentence, you're going to have a theme sentence, which is like an intro, but it's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more detailed. Then you're going to have 1 sentence about each of the main points. Now, in the body, that's where we're going to find our main points. Each main point gets its own paragraph. So you'll have 3 main points, 3 paragraphs, 1 for each. And in the body, that's where we do have all the detailed information that supports the argument. So you're going to have 3 paragraphs. Sometimes you might end up with 4. But see, what happens is, depending on your teacher, whatever the assignment is, you may need more words. You may need a larger essay, and that's okay. In the body, just find more main points or more main arguments, and you will increase it, because that will increase the introductory paragraph, increase the size of the body, and it'll also increase your conclusions. Your conclusion paragraph, you'll have a simple introductory sentence, and then you have to summarize. Now, how do we summarize? A lot of people overthink this. What you do is you go into each of your 3 body paragraphs, and you're going to sample just a little bit of information. Even if you repeat, it's not a bad thing. You wrote it, you can repeat it. So with 3 or 4 sentences in your summary, you're going to start creating a pretty large conclusion paragraph. Remember, it's like you are the judge in a courtroom. You listen to all the evidence, and then at the end of it, you come to a conclusion. You give your opinion of who had the stronger argument. So the summary in the conclusion paragraph is done, and then after that is the only place where you'll have opinion, and it goes right there after it, and you're basically explaining why one side is more likely to win, you could say, or to just be more believable. In a conclusion paragraph, your last sentence, and it can be 2 sentences, sometimes it is, your last sentence is really critical. It's your last opportunity to have the reader like you. You have to write a strong closing sentence here, different than other paragraphs. Something that is a final thought that leaves the reader thinking and remembering you, and you do get a higher score by having a very nice ending to your essay. It's going to be the biggest paragraph in the entire essay. Normally what we have source material. We read something, and then we write about that passage that we just read. You first have to skim read your passage. Your passage could be anywhere from 300 words to 900 words. So don't try to read it in detail the very first time you read it. Skim read it, go over it quickly. You're skipping words, you're not reading all of it, because after you skim read let's say a 400 word passage, you should be able to skim read that in about 30 seconds to a minute. And when you're done skim reading it, you won't know the details, and that's okay. But you'll know what it's about. And so then you come back after you skim read it, then you read it for detail, then you read it. So it feels like you're reading it for the second time, and you'll get so much more information, and you'll remember so much more when you read. I'm going to tell you a story instead of you having a passage. We've got in Haverhill, Iowa. So this is just a scenario that we're putting together, that our essay will be about this. So in this small town of Haverhill, Iowa, they had a manufacturing plant that made Maytag washing machines, dryers, refrigerators, things like that. And the town, many of them worked there at this factory, and they had good jobs. They were happy. But then in 2008, we had a financial crisis. America had a lot of problems. So anyways, this factory, this manufacturing plant from Maytag closed. And so over 2,000 people lost their jobs. So what happens then is you have people that are leaving the town because they're going to go look for work somewhere else. They have no choice. They're going to pull their kids out of school. They have no choice but to leave. So, but the federal government came in, and they had this great idea that they're going to build a wind farm, and they're going to build this wind farm, and a lot of these people that worked at the factory are going to get some new training. So they send them off for like 6 months at a community college, and they learn some basic electronic skills, whatever skill they need, and they get a new job in this wind farm. And everybody was happy, and they got their jobs paid more than the original jobs at the factory. What happened was, after they built all these large wind turbines, there was a lot of noise. There were vibrations that people could feel inside their body. The next thing is they started getting migraine headaches. So when they have these migraine headaches, they can't sleep, and now you've got a bunch of people that are not healthy, all because of these beautiful, magnificent wind turbines that saved the planet, right? A lot of the people ended up moving away anyway, even though the jobs were there. They still were forced to move away, and they still lost their jobs simply because of all the health concerns with the wind turbines. Now we're gonna formulate an essay structure off of that story there. Theme is different than an introductory paragraph, introductory sentence. Introductory sentence introduces only a paragraph. A theme sentence introduces the entire essay. So after reading the first 1 or 2 sentences, somebody should be able to know what the essay is about. Main points. Main points are the main arguments. Remember, one main point equals 1 paragraph in the body section. Details are the things that will create the sentences inside your body paragraph. The main point itself will help you create your introductory sentence, but your body sentences inside of the paragraphs are created from the details. We can't use opinions in these kinds of essays because they just don't matter. It's like arguing with your friend, and your answer to his opinion is, it's just because, it's how I feel. No. In opinions in these kinds of essays don't work out. Okay, so opinions, we just don't use them. The only time we have an opinion is in the conclusion paragraph. We have an opinion section, but it's not your opinion. It's your opinion of the facts that were presented within the source material, in the passage. So it's not like the judge, he can't have his own personal opinion. It's all about what was presented in the passage. So in the body section right now, we have main point 1. These wind turbines, the wind farms, did replace a lot of jobs. Okay, the second paragraph, the main point 2, it also helped restore the local economy. Now remember, when we're talking about local economy, we're not talking about the wind farms, we're not talking about the Maytag plant, we're talking about the restaurants, we're talking about the hotels, we're talking about the theaters, grocery stores, where these people that got their jobs from the wind farm are spending their money. And so by replacing these jobs, it also protected these other jobs and these other businesses. So third paragraph, remember 3 paragraphs in the body section, main point 1, 2, 3, each is a paragraph. The third paragraph would have to be about the negative of it. We have to say, talk about the problems about the wind farm. We had noise, we had vibrations so strong they could feel it inside their body, we had headaches, and we had problems sleeping. So paragraph 1, the replaced the lost jobs, right? That's our main point. So our details that help support this is that we know for a fact that it replaced over 2,000 jobs. So because of these jobs, the effect of having the jobs, the families could stay in their family homes. They didn't have to go find a new community. Their kids could stay in the same schools, all those nice things. The third one, This is an interesting one because the families avoided needing government financial assistance. And so normally they would require unemployment, they would require some financial help to survive something so horrible as that. But instead, they went through some retraining, and within 6 months, they were financially stable. That means they don't need government help, and it's quite the opposite. They're actually paying income tax and property taxes with houses and things into the government, so the government helping these people actually helps the government. These families are now financially stable, so they're comfortable spending their money at restaurants and theaters and things like that. Now, if you were unsure that you were going to get a paycheck next week, you would probably save your money, correct? That's called consumer confidence. Okay, so in this case right here, these people are confident because they're financially stable. So all of the other businesses benefited and the local economy is restored. Interesting thing happens. So suddenly when there's a lot more money happening, it's all moving around in this economic machine, suddenly banks are put into Haverhill. And so the banks come in with a little bit of help from some money from the Federal Reserve. These banks were able to give low interest loans for houses and for cars and to start new businesses. And that all helps the economy, having low interest loans and helping people spend their money as well as start businesses that creates more income, which creates more, like detail number 3, it creates more tax. Now, everything from the wind farm itself to the employee that works at the wind farm to the department store to the theater, every single thing is a taxable event and taxes are paid to the government. Now, that includes not just federal, but it also includes the local government. So with the local government, they were able to improve the community, new roads, improve the schools, maybe even expand them because more families were coming because the jobs were good. It helped fund the local police department, fire department, all different things, so it improved the town. So now we go back to the problem, the constant noise pollution. Now remember, this is paragraph 3 in the body. The residents complained about migraine headaches and things like that, and that they actually got forced away, even though they had jobs. They thought they were going to have to move away because they had no jobs, but they ended up being forced out anyway due to health problems. Okay, and then the third sentence would be about Pacific Hydro, who owns the turbines, just refusing to do any sort of safety testing after the residents complained. That, what we just did, is the hardest part of an essay, and we just did this in a few minutes, and you can do it also just as quickly. Now we move to the introductory paragraph. We were here in the body, and now we go up to the introductory paragraph, because you cannot write the introductory paragraph until you know what your essay is about, because you're introducing it. You cannot introduce it until you know what it's about. So now with this outline that we've done on the body, let's go to the introductory paragraph. Okay, so your first sentence is going to be your theme sentence. Sometimes it'll be 2 sentences, and that's okay. It doesn't matter if it's 2. Sometimes the way we structure our sentences, we need a little bit extra to finish our thought. And that's okay. And then we're going to write a sentence introducing main point 1, and no details, not allowed. Details only go in the body. Okay, next you'll introduce main point 2. Again, no details, just introduce it. Introduce main point 3. So now we have 1 or 2 sentences with a theme. We have 1 sentence for each of the introductions of the 3. So we're at 4, maybe 5 sentences. And then let's put a simple closing sentence. Don't get fancy, don't overthink it, don't make it complicated, just a simple closing. Now we have written our introductory paragraph, and most of our information for our body paragraph is done. We went from body to intro. Now let's jump down below and let's go to the conclusion. The conclusion paragraph guaranteed will be the largest paragraph. If it is not, you made a mistake. So just as a way to catch yourself from making a mistake, if you find yourself with a conclusion paragraph that is small, maybe 3 sentences or 4 sentences, stop yourself right there and say, what did I miss? A simple introductory sentence is all that's needed there. We talked about the summary, how we do that, the sampling, then write a sentence about each, opinion about which argument had a better argument. And sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we don't know which one is a better argument. And you can actually say that. That's okay. Give examples of the arguments that really seemed even. And then in the end, you can say it's really difficult to know who had a better argument. Now we get to our closing, our strong closing sentence. Now remember, this is your final thought, your last chance to impress the reader. So leave it nice, a good final thought. The idea is to influence the reader into really thinking like you really understood the topic. Now, don't forget, order of operation, how we write this thing. how we write any of our essays, you must first know what your body paragraphs are going to be about. You cannot write the introductory paragraph until you know what the body is, because the introduction is about the body. So then second, we go to our introductory paragraph, and then last thing that we write is going to be our conclusion. A lot of people sit down and they try to write an essay, and they start with an introductory sentence for their introductory paragraph, and off they go, and then they wonder why they don't know what to write. They get stuck and they're frustrated. I don't know what to write. Of course you don't. You don't know what your essay is about. So do it in this order, and it'll go much more smoothly, and you'll have a better essay, and it'll make more sense. This is a simple, basic format that you can adapt into whatever you want it to be. So if you're writing something that needs a thesis, then you wouldn't use theme, you just adapt it and you make a thesis. Because remember, a theme just tells you what it's about. A thesis is what helps to create an argument. Just learn to adapt with it. This is the way of getting your thoughts going, and also understanding the order of how to do it so that it comes out onto the paper and makes sense. I would use this as a stepping stone into higher level writing. This is a good step at upper high school, 12th grade, first year university, that you could use this, and then you will learn after that, you will learn higher levels of writing. But this helps at high school, 12th grade, and first year university. It's good for